Once upon a time, there was a tale full of intrigue and betrayal that puzzled minds for many years. At the heart of this scandal were Prince Charles, Camilla, Princess Anne, and Andrew Parker Bowles, all entangled in a web of complex and ambiguous relationships. Camilla, once Andrew's wife, broke his heart for Charles. Despite the drama, Princess Anne remained loyal to Andrew. The world knows about Charles and Camilla's romance, which led to the breakdown of Charles's marriage to Princess Diana. But how did it all begin? Who was with whom first, and who left whom for another? Camilla, with her calculating nature, always had plans up her sleeve, envisioning herself as the magnificent queen the British now see on the throne. Charles, on the other hand, suffered from a lack of warmth and fatherly love, as he reveals in his autobiography. Rumors collected by Kitty Kelly suggest that Charles, in his desperate search for love, often lashed out at his younger sister Princess Anne, resulting in frequent punishments. Unlike her brother, Princess Anne chose to keep quiet about her personal struggles, never exaggerating them in her memoirs. Let's try to understand the stance of the remarkable Princess Anne, whom the British will never implicate in these scandals. The love story of the royal family is truly astonishing. Princess Anne had numerous romantic relationships in the early 70s, one of them being with Andrew Parker Bowles. However, he ended up marrying Camilla Shand, who was the object of Charles's affection. The story began in 1966 when 19-year-old debutante Camilla Shand, popular in high society circles, started a relationship with the handsome and promising officer Andrew Parker Bowles. Andrew, known as London's most notorious womanizer, made no secret of his numerous affairs. In 1970, Andrew met Princess Anne and fell for her instantly, leaving Camilla out of the picture. Despite the 11-year age gap, Princess Anne didn't bat an eye. They spent a blissful year together, with Parker Bowles being welcomed into the royal palace as the princess's companion. However, things took a turn in 1971. Andrew's unpredictable nature and his Catholic faith, which would automatically strip Princess Anne and her children of their right to the throne if they married, led to the end of their romantic involvement. Princess Anne found comfort in her relationship with officer and athlete Mark Phillips, while Andrew rekindled things with Camilla. In 1972, their paths diverged when Andrew's regiment was transferred. During his absence, one of Camilla's friends introduced her to the Prince of Wales, bringing everything full circle. Charles fell head over heels for Camilla, and it was love at first sight that would last forever. Camilla saw this as an opportunity to get back at Andrew and Princess Anne for the humiliation they had caused her. She started a romance with the heir to the throne, who happened to be the princess's brother. When Andrew returned to Britain and found out his beloved was dating the prince, he tried to rekindle his relationship with Princess Anne. However, she decided they should just remain friends. At that point, Prince Charles set off on a long sea voyage. The older generation decided to step in. According to Sally Bedell-Smith, Camilla and Andrew's parents, fed up with their children's unproductive 7-year relationship, decided to take matters into their own hands. They published an engagement announcement for Andrew and Camilla in the Times. The situation was ridiculous, but there was no going back. On July 4, 1973, Camilla Shand became Andrew Parker Bowles' wife. Princess Anne attended her former lover's wedding dry-eyed and quickly married Mark Phillips a few months later. What happened next became public knowledge. On November 14 of that same year, Princess Anne married Mark Phillips, but they would later separate in 1992. Nevertheless, she maintained a warm relationship with Andrew Parker Bowles. She attended his wedding to Camilla, and he became the godfather to her daughter Zara. They remained close friends and are often seen together at various events, particularly horse races. The relationship between Princess Anne and Camilla has always been tense. When Camilla joined the family as Charles's wife, she found it difficult to cope with her father-in-law's cold attitude. Princess Anne tried to maintain her distance from Camilla. When Camilla became Charles's wife, Princess Anne openly expressed her disapproval of her status, often telling Camilla, "You'll never be a true queen, you're just the king's consort." The news of Camilla's title change was very upsetting to Princess Anne. In European countries, the wife of a reigning king is usually called queen, without the consort suffix. However, due to Camilla's scandalous relationship with Charles, Princess Anne felt that Camilla didn't deserve such a title. the change from queen consort to queen sparked Princess Anne's outrage. It was reported that Princess Anne believed Camilla had crossed a line before the coronation by simply calling herself queen. No one expected her to take on the full title of queen after Queen Elizabeth announced her will. It wasn't about Princess Anne's loyalty to her mother but rather a matter of basic ethics. That's why Camilla tries to steer clear of Princess Anne, though she's obliged to show respect to the new queen. Camilla is always on her toes, well aware of Princess Anne's blunt nature. Princess Anne won't hold her tongue if she thinks Camilla has overstepped the bounds of what's acceptable. Interestingly, Camilla still maintains a good relationship with her ex-husband Andrew Parker Bowles, who was invited to her coronation. Princess Anne is often seen in photos with Andrew too, which fuels speculation about potential tension between her and Camilla. The relationship between Princess Anne and King Charles isn't particularly warm either, and it's not just because of Camilla. As mentioned in Charles's official autobiography, his childhood was marked by loneliness and unhappiness. In the book he dictated to Jonathan Dimbleby, he revealed that his mother was cold and distant, while his father was a tyrant. A desperate Charles had to grow up with nannies due to a lack of parental attention. However, Kitty Kelly, based on accounts by palace servants, mentions that according to them, Charles, craving for love, often beat his younger sister Princess Anne. His father was often forced to punish him for this. In 1960, in Balmoral, Scotland, Princess Anne and Prince Charles were photographed with their younger brother Andrew. The relationship between the sister and brothers, just like the relationship between their mother and her own sister, was quite tense. For the Windsors, distant family relationships are typical. Cousins are usually closer to each other than siblings. In the case of Queen Elizabeth, it was Princess Alexandra. For Prince Harry, it was Beatrice and Eugenie. The chilliness in relationships is probably explained by the increasing age difference between the Queen's children. The difference between Charles and Andrew is 12 years, and with Edward, it is 16 years. In a typical family, such an age gap creates challenges when it comes to shared interests, but in the royal family, these difficulties are even more pronounced. At official events, Charles can easily converse with Princess Anne, but this rarely happens with Andrew and Edward. An insider claims that Andrew and Edward have always been jealous of Charles, especially after William and Harry were born, pushing them further down the line of succession. Even with Princess Anne, who's closest in age, the siblings never quite saw eye to eye. They each have their own distinct interests, hobbies, and outlooks on life. A documentary called Paxman on the Queen's Children explored the relationships between the Queen's children and their spouses. The documentary's host, Jeremy Paxman, revealed that Diana's public persona and her image as the people's princess rubbed Princess Anne the wrong way. The relationship between the two princesses was always rather strained. Richard Kay asserts that Princess Anne held more traditional views on the monarchy and royal duties. She was critical of Diana's approach to her responsibilities, her public behavior, and her use of the media. Before Diana came onto the scene, Princess Anne was already a style icon and Britain's favorite royal. She was widely imitated, dubbed the English Catherine Deneuve, and regularly took part in photo shoots. Her portraits were frequently featured in fashion magazines. Unlike Diana, Princess Anne favored elegance without extravagant spending. Even today, she can appear at an event wearing a suit bought more than 30 years ago and look impeccable. This strong-willed woman never directly reveals her opinion on the conflicts between her two brothers, but that doesn't mean she doesn't have her own perspective. Let's try to consider the stance of the woman they call the best queen the British will never have, Princess Anne. In 1974, when an attempt was made on her life, Princess Anne displayed great composure and firmness. She delivered a speech immediately after the incident in which her car was shot at. According to Paxman, Diana overshadowed Princess Anne, and the relationship between the princesses was frosty from the start. Diana was aware of Princess Anne's aversion towards her, and went so far as to say, "If Princess Anne is there, I'll leave." Their views on the AIDS crisis also differed. Princess Anne believed the epidemic was the result of human error, and thought the disease was transmitted through contact, so she preferred to maintain a safe distance. During her visit to an HIV clinic at Middlesex Hospital in 1987, Diana unexpectedly shook hands with a dying AIDS patient without wearing gloves. This simple act helped dispel society's fears and prejudices. Her actions were revolutionary and drew attention to the issues faced by people with HIV. In contrast to Diana, Princess Anne appeared too formal and aloof. However, Diana maintained a close relationship with Prince Andrew, with whom she had played during her childhood at Sandringham. She even wrote him letters when he was serving in the military. It's hard to say whether Princess Anne unconditionally supports either of her brothers, Charles or Andrew, based solely on a few photographs together. It's impossible to draw conclusions. However, one thing is certain: Princess Anne strongly supports the monarchy, just like her father, Prince Philip. As we can see, relationships within the British royal family have always been complex and multifaceted. Princess Anne, Camilla, Charles, and Prince Andrew each have their own unique outlook on life, and their views on the monarchy differ dramatically. Nevertheless, Princess Anne remains steadfast in her principles and duties to the monarchy, even when it leads to conflicts with both new and long-standing family members. If you're keen to learn more about the behind-the-scenes drama of the royal family and uncover their dark secrets, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. There are still plenty of shocking revelations and juicy details yet to come.